In Game 1 with the first-place Indians, Kyle Davies pitched his best game of the season, holding the Tribe to 2 runs in 6 innings. Tonight, Bruce Chen takes on the Indians, coming off his best start of the year. No earned runs in 8 innings against Seattle, and he has a personal 14-inning scoreless streak. The Royals and the Indians are next on Fox Sports Kansas City. With at least 1 hit tonight, Alex Gordon would have a brand new career-high 13-game hitting streak. His team is trying to avoid a 3-game losing streak. After falling to the Indians last night, the Royals have dropped to 2 games back in the American League Central. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the ballpark. I'm Ryan Lefevre with Royals Hall of Famer Frank White. The Royals have lost their last 2 games. They've only scored 5 runs combined. But, Frank, they've been in those games because of good starting pitching.
And that's really where it starts. You have to have good starting pitching to win in this league. And you look at Bruce Chen, the Royals are 3-0 in his starts. Jeff Francis has put together 3 outstanding starts. And Kyle Davies' last 2 starts, along with Host Shaver. Well, all these starters have given their team a chance to win.
And it's been a very impressive turn through the rotation on this homestand. 4 games against Seattle, and then the first game of 4 with Cleveland last night. Speaking of the Indians, the Royals will be facing right-hander Jenmar Gomez, who was just called up from the minor leagues.
And, Ryan, he was pitching well in the minor leagues. He was 2-0, and the thing that he brings to the table is that good, hard sinker. And that's what the Royals got to do tonight, is make him get it up and give themselves a chance to get some base hits off this guy.
And Gomez joining a group that is pitching very well. Now, the Indians were pushed around by the White Sox in their first 2 games, but in their last 14 games, the starting rotation has a 2.12 ERA. Last year, Cleveland was 0-3 against Bruce Chen. And Bruce Chen has not lost in his last 11 starts going back to last year. We'll talk more about him when we come back. Ball is brought to you tonight by the Missouri Lottery. When you play, students win. And by Southwest Airlines' new Rapid Rewards. Unlimited reward seats and no blackout dates. Prior to last year, Bruce Chen had never beaten the Cleveland Indians, and then in 2010, he was 3-0 against the Tribe.
Well, he did a great job against the Tribe, Ryan. One of those wins were in relief, but he's a guy that's not going to change. He's going to use his fastball in and out to set up his changeup and his curveball. And the thing that I really like about Bruce Chen is that he's always on the attack.
The lineup he will face tonight, presented by Southwest Airlines, no Grady Sizemore, no Travis Hafner, as Manny Acta is going to leave a couple of left-hand bats out of the lineup against Bruce Chen. We'll get to this a little bit later, but Manny Acta might actually be helping out Bruce Chen. On the Royals side, we have three guys trying to extend long hitting streaks. One more for Alex Gordon. That would be a career-high 13. Jeff Francoeur is going for 9 in a row. And Wilson Betemit, a career-high 11. The Royals and the Indians, and the first pitch is next. In high definition, brought to you by Time Warner Cable. Get no fee HD with digital TV from Time Warner Cable. Out to right field, and let's welcome in Joe Goldberg.
Little chilly out here tonight, and last night we introduced you to the French Quarter. Bunch of Jeff Francoeur fans hung a sign, but here's the problem. I don't see them here tonight, guys. They didn't show up. Frenchie was telling me today he loves it. He loves these guys. He says they're fun. He said, I want to do anything for those guys. He said, as a matter of fact, I'll take 7 or 8 of them at some point, get them tickets, and bring them into batting practice and let them come to batting practice. Can you believe that? But you know what, guys? It gets cold in the French Quarter sometimes. You still got to show up. Back upstairs to you.
They'll show up now that they know that.
I don't think he knows what he's getting in for. He's in for a lot if he starts doing that.
One ball, one strike to Michael Brantley, who's back to the leadoff spot again tonight as Grady Sizemore gets the night off. Brantley had been the Indians' leadoff man and center fielder with Sizemore on the disabled list. And then Sizemore returned on Sunday. Picked up 2 hits. 2 more hits in the game last night, but gets tonight off. So Brantley back to leading off and playing in center. And Bruce just missed the outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, this is what Bruce is going to have to do, Ryan. He's got to get this pitch if he's going to be successful tonight. He's got to live on the corners. He can't live in the middle of the plate. Escobar to the hole, and the game begins with a great defensive play. Stop it. Woo! Outstanding play. And that's not just to get any kind of a runner. Brantley runs very well. And plus he's batting left-handed, and this is just outstanding. One hop play to his backhand side. Just gets it right in the web of the glove. But just how quickly he gets his body angle back to first, and just amazing how much he can get on that throw.
That play is almost routine for him.
He goes to his right very well.
Ball 1 to Asdrubal Cabrera. So he moves over to the right side against Bruce Chen. And talking about great defensive plays, Cabrera made 2 of them last night as the Royals batted in the 7th inning. Keela into foul ground over near the tarp, and he makes the catch. And the wind moved that around on him, and he was able to stay with it. 45 degrees. It feels much colder than that with the wind out of the northwest. We started at 7:09. Time and temp brought to you by the parking spot. Easy to spot, easy to park. The parking spot at KCI. So Bruce making sure everybody's back in place on defense. And he throws a strike to Shin-Soo Choo. Ram Trucks will show us the Royals on defense. Chris Getz is back at second base, so Mike Aviles is out of the lineup tonight. And Brian Pena, as he has been all year, is behind the plate for the lefties. Getz down to a knee just to make sure. And it's a 9-pitch first inning for Bruce Chen. Escobar. Bruce Chen has a quiet top of the first inning, and now here's the Royals lineup presented by Southwest Airlines. So Chris Getz is back to leading off, and he is at second base. Alex Gordon has a 12-game hitting streak. Jeff Francoeur has an 8-game hitting streak, and Wilson Betemit has a 10-game hitting streak. They will try to extend those against right-hander Jenmar Gomez.
Gomez, Ryan, and he's going to be a sinker ball pitcher like most of their right-handed starters. They want to get the ball on the ground, throw heavy sinkers, and create ground balls.
Mitch Talbot was in the opening day rotation, and this is his spot in the rotation, but he went on the disabled list earlier this week. Problems with his right elbow. Chris Getz didn't start last night, but batted late in the game, 0 for 1. He is hitting .264. Another note about the Royals lineup tonight: 6 of the 9 hitters bat from the left side, or at least with the switch hitters will have the option of batting from the left side. 2 balls, 1 strike.
Well, Gomez's sinker it doesn't turn over in the middle of the plate. It kind of runs down and away from lefties. So if they want to be successful, they're going to have to hit the ball the other way. He hoped they want to try to pull it and hit ground balls to second base.
2-2. And with that, what you said, Frank, sometimes it doesn't seem to make sense, but a right-handed sinker ball pitcher actually can be better against lefties than they are righties, and that's the case with Gomez. He gets one in on the knuckles, and on the right side, Orlando Cabrera brings it down for the out. Now the Indians defensively tonight, brought to you by Ram Trucks. Austin Kearns, Michael Brantley, Shin-Soo Choo in the outfield with Adam Everett. The Cabrera's up the middle. Carlos Santana moves to first base from catcher, and Lou Marson is behind the plate.
And one thing you notice with both teams, the Tribe and the Royals, Ryan, when the pitching gets better and you start winning ball games, your defense gets better. Where the Indians are 6th in the AL, the Royals are 10th in the AL.
They go hand in hand.
Definitely go hand in hand.
The famous line: you can have bad pitching and good defense, but you can't have bad defense and good pitching. Melky 1 out of 5 with a double and an RBI last night. He has driven in 8. This is his first at bat against Gomez. Gomez last year got to the big leagues for the first time. He made 11 starts and 3 were against the Royals. And when the Royals beat him on August the 17th, it was his first major league loss. It was a historic beginning for Gomez, at least from an Indians point of view. In his first 4 starts last year, he had a 1.54 ERA. That was the best 4-start beginning to a career in Indians history. And then he lost to the Royals. Still 2 balls and 2 strikes on Melky. .45 degrees with that wind out of the northwest, and everybody is bundled up like it's January or February, with heavy jackets and scarves and gloves, hats, you name it. There's Gomez's first strikeout and 2 away in the bottom of the first. He's only 23 years old. He is out of Venezuela, and this certainly doesn't feel like Venezuela. Signed by the Indians back in 2005 out of Caracas. 2 years ago, he was the Eastern League Player of the Year. That is the AA League. And that same year, he threw a perfect game against Trenton. So it doesn't matter whether it's A ball, AA, AAA, or the big leagues. A perfect game is a perfect game. One strike on Alex, who has tied his career high with a 12-game hitting streak. The first time he did that was 08. Last night, 1 for 5 with an RBI, and that RBI put the Royals in front 3-2 in the 6th inning. The Indians tied it in the 7th and then won it with 4 runs in the 10th. Now Gomez and Marson having some difficulty getting on the same page. The pitch stays up, and it is a 13-game hitting streak for Alex Gordon. Down in the count, 0-2. Alex has a 2-out single.
Well, Ryan, what you have there is a miscommunication between the catcher and the pitcher. They couldn't get up. They couldn't come to terms on what pitch they wanted to use right there. But they probably wanted to go down and in with that pitch, and Gomez left it up, and Alex made him pay.
Now that was this will sound crazy. That was a slider up, right?
Right.
And usually, most of the time, 3, that's a slider, right? I mean, fastball 1, curveball 2. I mean, generally speaking, right?
Generally
slider,
speaking, yes.
Wiggle the 4 as a changeup. I could have sworn that Marson's first sign to Gomez was a 3, and then he motioned up, like throw a slider up. I've never seen that before.
Now, you wouldn't want to do that. I mean, unless the 3 is unless we're reading the pitch wrong, and it could have been a cutter, number 3, up.
Look at 3.
But it could be 3 to the inside versus 3 up. So the same pitch he struck Cabrera out was that hard slider down to the back leg. I think that's the pitch that he was looking for, but it just backed up out over the plate.
Alex takes off. The pitch is down and away, which makes it a difficult play for Marson. And Alex has his first stolen base.
Well, he also had a great jump on this pitch. I mean, it's just one of, never looked at him. I mean, he just took off right away and kept his head down all the way. Never looked in the home plate. Just a straight steal all the way to second base. We really would like to see more guys go in foot first. Maybe do more of a pop-up slide. Everybody's going head first at all the bases, even at home plate, and the injuries are starting to rise too.
And I guess the feeling is that you get to the bag quicker if you go head first. I don't know if that's been proven or not, but that's what the instinct tells the runner when he's trying to get there as quickly as possible.
It's been proven at first base that you are faster running through the base. The other thing about going head first, you don't have as much control of your body, especially if you slide late. So you have a lot of guys sliding by the base over the top of the base, and I think that's where the injuries can occur, not only to the fingers, but the wrists, elbows, shoulders. Even I've seen guys even pull quad muscles sliding head first and hit the base.
Well, Alex had to start last year on the disabled list because he broke a finger in spring training sliding head first.
Well, a lot of guys maybe don't know how to slide feet first. Maybe, I don't know, maybe that's it.
So 2 outs, nobody on, a single, a stolen base, and a walk. And now Jeff Francoeur, and he takes down and away. So Gomez has missed with 5 in a row. Francoeur stretched his hitting streak to 8 games last night, going 1 for 3. That hit was a double, and he walked. Now the runners go. Marson goes to third. The play might have been at second base. The Royals have stolen 3 bases in the bottom of the first inning, and now Francoeur has 2 in scoring position.
Well, they're really taking advantage of Gomez to the plate right here. Francoeur did a good job of letting this pitch go, but Alex has such a great jump. And normally you would throw for the slower guy, but they opted to go after Alex at third base, especially since the pitch was down and away, and he had a better shot at second base.
2 balls and 1 strike. Well, at least from up here, it looked like they had a much better chance at second base than they did at third. Billy has to make sure that Alex goes, right?
He definitely has to let him go and make sure he's going to go. And then normally they come out, the catcher would come out in front, give a sign. So if they do go, and he tells the in-middle infielders where he's going to throw, whether it be third base or to second base.
And a slider needles the outside corner, 2-2. This is the first time Francoeur has seen Gomez, so trying to see as many pitches as he can first time around. Although there's a little more urgency to this situation with 2 runners in scoring position. Back to Gomez, who used his glove as a shield, and the Royals leave runners at second and third.
My name is Katie Howe from Des Moines, Iowa. I've got a question for the announcers. Bruce Chin has been having a good season so far. What impresses you the most this season?
Well, Ryan, the one thing that impresses me is his ability to adjust. You know, go from game to game, team to team. His first game, it was more fastball, changeup. You get a more aggressive team, it was fastball, curveball, changeup. And he just sort of goes back and forth, and he plays on the aggressiveness of the team.
Facing Carlos Santana, who's just 2 for his last 30. Had an RBI double in the first inning last night, finished 1 for 4. Shelley Duncan after him, and then Orlando Cabrera. I mentioned this when we were going over the lineups, but Manny Acta, who knows, he may have done Bruce Chen a favor because he took a couple of left-hand bats out of the lineup, and traditionally that's what you do. If you're going to rest your left-hand hitters, do it against a left-hand pitcher. That's a 4-pitch walk to Santana. But Bruce is not your, well, I guess he is a typical left-hand pitcher. He's not a power left-hand pitcher, but you take the lefties out and you load the lineup with righties. Righties are hitting 190 against him this year.
Well, the lefties take the changeup away, so he's mainly fastball, curveball. If the curveball is off, then they can sit on his fastball. So it does eliminate one pitch from his arsenal.
And typically speaking, a left-hand batter against a left-hand pitcher is going to think about going to the, at least up the middle and maybe even to the opposite field, kind of stay back on a finesse type guy. Whereas you get some right-hand hitters that are going to try and muscle up against Bruce Chen. Well, you're working right into his strength.
Yeah, the more aggressive you are, the better he is. He just changes speeds on his fastball, uses changeup, get you out front a little bit, and create the ground ball and the pop-ups.
Shelley Duncan had a pinch hit RBI double in the 10th inning last night in the Indians' 4-run 10th inning. Hit it hard, but he pulled it foul. That's why you bring your glove, Frank.
That is for sure. Now, do you think he really thought he'd catch a ball tonight, or it's all just in case?
Just in case. There it is. There you go. Little squeeze, little kiss.
Give her the ball.
Give her the ball.
Give her the ball.
Give her the ball. Right center field, slicing back to Francoeur, and the wind will push it to him. Santana back to first base and 1 out. Bruce's best start was his last against the Mariners, and he went 8 innings. He gave up 1 run. It was unearned. Interesting thing about that game, the wind was blowing out, so you figured you want to keep the ball down. However, of Bruce's 24 outs, 15 were in the air, but with the Mariners trying to muscle up against him, they were mostly routine outs, either fly balls to the outfield like this one or infield pop-ups. Melky Cabrera retires Orlando Cabrera.
Yeah, the one thing he does, Ryan, is he throws that fastball at different speeds, and you can see right there the ball's in the middle of the plate, but you can see that the ball's on the end of the bat, and so therefore you're not going to get that good solid contact to drive the ball, and that's because he doesn't throw his fastball at the same speed all the time.
And now strike to Austin Kearns, who is not in the lineup and is going to lose some playing time with Grady Sizemore coming back. That shifts Michael Brantley over to left and moves Kearns to the bench. Sizemore is not in the lineup tonight. As cold as it is, this is not as bad as it was for Bruce in his start against the Mariners. It was a rainy night. Bruce pitched in the rain for 4 of his 8 innings. No balls and 2 strikes on Kearns.
Well, this you see here, he throws a fastball at 83 miles an hour, Ryan. Then he comes right back with a changeup. So that's the beauty of Bruce Chen. You just can't sit on one pitch.
3 pitches, down goes Kearns. So the leadoff walk doesn't turn into anything. Row for Bruce Chen over his last 3 starts. Here's tonight's You Call It, presented by Sprint. What is your favorite offseason free agent signing? Text 432-432, enter keyword Royals. A, Melky Cabrera. B, Jeff Francoeur. C, Bruce Chen, who was a free agent signing even though he's with the Royals last year. Or Jeff Francis. If you send in your text tonight, you'll get a bounce back text message from Sprint, which will give you instructions on how you can register for the You Call It sweepstakes and a chance to win a suite for a game here at Kauffman Stadium for you and 11 guests. 1 pitch and down goes Wilson Betemit. Jenmar Gomez, after getting 2 outs in the first, gave up a single, a walk. The Royals had a stolen base and then a double steal, so 3 in the first inning. But Gomez was able to get Jeff Francoeur on a comebacker. So 1 away, and now Keela 0 for 4 last night, and now he's dropped down to 160. And he's dropped down in the batting order tonight to the number 7 spot.
You know, I always found you got better pitchers when you hit in the middle of the order because you got a good hitter behind you, a good hitter ahead of you. Then the more you go down in the order like that, then you're not going to get as good of pitches, especially when it comes to hitting counts. That's when you get more sliders and more changeups and more curveballs, anything but the fastball. So right now, Keela has to figure out how to get on one pitch. You know, a lot of times when hitters get in slumps, they're not on the fastball or the breaking ball. And they're too slow for the fastball, too quick for the breaking ball. So that's the danger zone. So he's got to figure out how to at least get on one of those pitches and be successful there.
Pretty good swing. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Tomorrow is another Ink student night. If you have a valid high school or college ID, you can get a ticket for $7. Plus get a hot dog and beverage for $7. Tomorrow night is also Ink Local Music Showcase, and Scratch Track will be performing. The gates open at 5:30. Second strikeout for Gomez, and there are 2 down in the second inning.
It's the sinker here. The only thing he did, he just started on the inner half and let it run back out over the plate, and you throw it right at the belt. The hitter always give it up right there, and the ball rolls right back out on the corner, and they get that strike.
Two outs to Brian Pena. That'll land in the seats off to the left field side. Brian came on defensively in the 10th inning last night. Did not bat. trying to shake off an 0 for his last 8. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, Brian's got the perfect approach to Jamar Gomez. He likes to hit the ball that way. The ball's going that way. He just has to be careful when he gets to 2 strikes and get the same pitch that Keela got on the inner half and try to steal the inside corner.
Well, he got it there, but it stayed inside. 2-1. No long sleeves for Brian Pena tonight. There are very few players on the field that are without the long sleeves. 45 degrees and windy at first pitch. There's that pitch that Frank was talking about, and that had Brian jumping back to the first base dugout.
And he more or less likes to get extended and try to hit the ball out over shortstop. So they do that. They do their scouting report. So this is where he's got to really be careful and just don't give up on that pitch too soon.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Stroke to center field, but Brantley is right there. So tough hitting luck for Pena, and the Royals are down in order. Fastest mobile broadband network by Panera Bread. Fresh baked breads, soups, salads, and sandwiches at Panera Catering. Order online at PaneraKansas.com. And by Chevy's, your Kansas City area Chevy dealers. And by Steel. Are you ready for a steal? Tonight is another carsoup.com email the booth night. Go to carsoup.com/Royals. Once you're there, CarSoup will ask you to enter your zip code, and once you fill in the zip code, you'll be sent to a different page, and there you can submit your question. Lou Marson, Adam Everett, Michael Brantley coming up against Bruce Chen. 1-1 on Marson, one of the players that came over from Philadelphia a couple of years ago in the Cliff Lee trade, the backup catcher to Carlos Santana. And then when he's behind the plate, Manny Acta has the option of playing Santana at first, as he does tonight. Second year for Manny Acta guiding the Cleveland Indians. Last year it was the Indians who had the youngest team in the major leagues. They finished at 69 and 93, right in front of the Royals in the standings. And right now they are in front of the Royals in the standings, but Both teams are feeling a lot better about where they are.
Well, I talked with him yesterday, Ryan, and he basically said both teams should feel good about where they are, because you have to build from somewhere, and it's better to build from the top than where both teams predicted to be on the bottom. So this is a good time for teaching and everything else.
Foul and dropped by a fan reaching over the railing, and now he has to explain to his daughter why he didn't end up with a souvenir. Well, there you go. Leave it up to Jeff Francoeur to allow that guy to be a hero to his little girl.
She'll never forget.
You know, Dad, you didn't catch that ball. His hands are fine. His ego's a little bruised. Marson strikes out, and that's Chen's second. And that might have been wishful thinking by Marson, trying to bolt to first base.
Well, you get fooled by a pitch, and the ball's coming down and in. And when there's 2 strikes on you, Ryan, you just cannot leave it up to the umpire. You got to try to foul that tough pitch off and hope you get a better pitch on the next one.
So one away to Adam Everett as we bring in Joe Goldberg.
Well, guys, Adam Everett, one of the real good guys in the game. Now 34 years old. He broke in a number of years ago with Houston and was almost out of the game after last season. Released by Detroit. Thought maybe he was out of baseball, contemplating retirement. Actually went on a mission to Africa, thinking about the rest of his career if he was going to have one. Ended up giving it one more shot with the Indians, signed with them, made the team out of spring training. He told me that Manny Acta actually asked him to address the team before the season started, and his message now as a veteran on a young team was, don't be afraid to go out there, guys, and make mistakes, and just know that all the guys in the dugout should always have your back. Guys?
All right, thank you, Joel. A player that throughout his career has been known for having a good glove, but more of a number 9 hitter at the plate where he bats tonight. A first-round pick of the Boston Red Sox back in '97, but 2 years later they traded him to Houston because the Red Sox had a guy named Nomar Garciaparra at shortstop and figured he wasn't going anywhere for a while. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
The reason he stayed around as long as he stayed around is because you can do the little things. You play defense, you can hit and run, you can bunt guys over, and you're a good team player all the way around. I think as young players, the hardest thing for young players to do is to, when they make mistakes, just say, look, I just messed it up, and just get better from there. You know, when you start alibying and trying to look for excuses of why things happen, that's when things get difficult. When I came up, John Mayberry was my first roommate, and he says, you're going to make mistakes, you're going to admit your mistakes, and you're going to get better from that. This is a simple game. Either you do the job, you don't do the job, and you get better from there. So no gray area. Just take it all out, make it simple, and I think you learn this game a lot faster.
You're going to make mistakes, you're going to admit your mistakes, and you'll get better because of those mistakes.
He said when the writers ask you what happened, you just say, I messed it up. And they can't say anything else. You don't have to say anything else. You just go out and just get better from there. Too much dialogue.
Big John ought to write a book. I've learned a lot about Big John just by working with you over the past few years.
Oh, he was great.
Baseball wisdom with
great.
John Mayberry.
I came up from AAA. He says, first of all, you're not making any money. So on the road, I'm going to buy, you just tip everybody all year. And next year you find somebody else to do the same thing. So Al Collins was my roommate the next year. I did the same thing for him.
So Michael Brantley bats for the second time. He opened the game with what he thought was a ground ball base hit to left field until Alcides Escobar ripped him off. And the Indians have been doing a lot of scoring this year in the first 2 innings. It felt like they were on their way in the first inning. So Bruce Chen, who's been getting great defense behind him all year, especially in his last 2 starts. He got a great play against the first hitter. Everett started to go, changed his mind, and it's 1 ball and no strikes on Brantley.
Well, Bruce has been known to make 3 consecutive throws to first base. He doesn't have a great move to first, but he just figured if I could throw there 3 times, maybe I guess right on one of those times and pick him off first base.
Line to center field. Nothing the Royals defense can do with that. So after the strikeout, a walk and a single, and there are 2 on for Asdrubal Cabrera. Here's our first Carsoup.com question of the night. It comes from Scott Edwards, who lives in Lee Summit, Missouri. And Scott's question is, as we look at Sandy Alomar Jr., the first base coach, with a helmet on, and first base umpire Joe West, who is without a helmet. So why do the base coaches have to wear helmets, but not the umpires?
Well, I think umpires have their own union, so that if that happens, if they have to wear it, it would have to come from their union. As far as the coaches go, that's mandated by MLB, and so they have to follow in line with what the MLB guidelines are.
And if I can add something to that, Frank, the umpires are farther from home plate than the base coaches are, and they are facing home plate, where the base coaches sometimes they have to take their eye off of the hitter. Like right now, the third base coach Steve Smith, I mean, he's got his back almost to home plate as he's keeping an eye on the runner at second base, and he's much closer. I mean, he's a good 30 feet closer to home plate than third base umpire Paul Schreiber is. So
right.
The umpire should have more time to react. And
he shouldn't really be that low. The new rule said, and especially when I was in the minor leagues, we had to stay in the box. And then once the ball is hit, then we can run down the line. And that's more for protection. You see where Sandy Alomar is deep at first base. So when I coached first base, I was where he was, because you really don't have that much time to react. And a lot of umpires get relaxed, especially on the lines. And you see a lot of guys on the line get hit in the legs or something like that. They have to do some pretty serious escape acting down there sometimes.
But the third base coach, he has no choice, because if he plays deep like the first base coach, well, he's not in the line of sight of the runner.
Deep. Yeah, he's too deep. Now he can do that with a runner on first, because now you want to be higher so the guy coming around second can see you. Once you get the guy on second base, then you want to give yourself enough time to get deep enough that you can stop him in plenty of time. You get too close to the base and he gets by you, you can't stop him at that point.
Cabrera fouled out to first in the first inning. He has Everett at second base, Brantley at first, so good speed on the bases. One and two. Got a couple of guys who are playing for the Indians, and when they were growing up, they followed the Indians because that's who their favorite player played for. And for Cabrera, it was Omar Vizquel, another switch hitting shortstop from Venezuela, and he has Vizquel's number 13. And we were telling you last night about Carlos Santana, a switch hitting catcher from Venezuela. His favorite player was Victor Martinez, who was playing for the Indians, and he wears number 41 like Martinez did, which must be, probably used to it now, but must have been surreal for a while. I mean, here I am playing at Jacobs Field wearing Vizquel's number, playing his position. Out at second, gets quick turn, double play. Indians are scoreless in the third. serving in the U.S. Army in Vietnam and as a Peace Corps volunteer in India. John Kelly taught and retired as assistant principal and athletic director at Hickman High School in Columbia, Missouri. Hope he's enjoying the game tonight, all bundled up as Alcides Escobar takes a strike from Genmar Gomez. Let's take a look at tonight's Home Depot doing more on defense, and this is the first batter of the game.
First batter, and I tell you what, to be ready to go. My comment to you, Ryan, was what's this guy going to play like when the weather gets hot? Because he's moving good in this cold weather. Outstanding. I mean, he's playing like his idol also was Omar Vizquel. I mean, just look at this play. Watch, soon as he's got the ball. As soon as that right foot hit, he's ready to go. Just backhand off the left foot, right foot hit, he's ready to throw.
You know, sometimes when you show a play in slow motion, it doesn't show the difficulty of what it is at regular speed. But what I liked about that in slow motion was it showed, even though that play was very quick and he didn't have much time, you watch it in slow motion. His feet were in the right position. He had a good arm angle throwing the ball to first base. And now Cabrera made a good play to get to the ball, but then he throws it away. So a couple of kids who grew up admiring Omar Vizquel trying to put on a show tonight.
Yeah, what he does, he lets that arm drop down, and when that arm drops down, he throws a sinker. And Santana, who doesn't really play a lot of first base and doesn't know all the good, proper workings to scoop those balls out of the dirt, the ball got by him. But anytime you let that arm drop, the ball's going to turn over. So you got to expect the ball to be down low.
It's an infield single for Escobar. So anyway, my point, Frank, is, you know, it looks wild, out of control, and lucky when Escobar makes a play like that, but you watch it in slow motion, and he's doing everything well fundamentally. And on that topic, I know you like the way Chris Getz hung in there for that inning double play in the top of the third.
Well, he does a good job here. He gets that right foot down, gives the left foot to the base runner, and then he just lets him slide underneath. You got to have the weight shift from the left side to the right side. Now it comes back toward first. That allows you to get off the ground and escape the runner. So an outstanding double play.
Alcides Escobar was just picked off at first base, but Carlos Santana couldn't hang on to the ball. If he does, it is an easy call for Joe West.
Wow, he got caught taking that one step.
He could have tagged him twice.
Well, that's one of the dangers of moving guys around, and everybody's not good everywhere they play. You know, you have to be ready for almost anything. So the more familiar you are with a position, the easier those plays are to make.
Now, you've been talking about second baseman doing exactly what Chris Getz did on that double play, and what struck me is that he got hit pretty hard, but he still had something on the throw.
Well, if you go back and look, I don't think he got hit. See, basically you tag with your left, your right foot hits, your weight shift goes back to your right side. Then when you give that left foot to the base runner, now your arm swing is going to bring that left foot back up and around. So if you do get hit, you're going to get hit with that left foot in the air, and you just spin out and you're okay. But the key is to be off the ground.
Three and one.
So if you watch here, Ryan, watch the right foot comes down. He gives the left foot to the base runner, and that's his weight shift going down the line to throw. So watch, the left foot's going to come up, and with the arm swing, he just spins right out and just goes right around the runner. So a lot of times, you as a second baseman, you got to remember you jump around the runner and not over the runner.
Yeah, because when I watch that replay now, you think, I mean, how did he not go through his knee and injure him badly? But there wasn't much tension on the leg.
See, it's the weight shift. You give it to him, but then you make the transfer. And when you transfer and follow your arm swing, then your right foot's going to come around and your left foot's going to go up. And now if it does get hit, it's going to get hit going up, and you're going to spin out like he did.
Not planted in the
ground.
And
not planted in the ground, right.
Whereas, you pointed out where Mike Aviles more likes to stay on the right field side of second base, stay back and open up the shoulders as opposed to coming across the bag.
And then if there's a runner that's aggressive and it's going to get there with intent to break up the double play, once you open up to face first base, you can't jump. And that's where you get in trouble.
I can see, though, I mean, I never played second base, but I can see that I see your point, and you've got 8 Gold Gloves to prove that that's the right thing to do. But no, but my point is, it takes more guts and courage to do what Getz is doing, because your instincts are telling you get out of the way, and that's probably what Mike Aviles is doing when he's going really quick, right? His intent is to turn it quickly so he gets out of the way, right?
Well, the biggest problem is you don't want to be quick with your hands. You want to be quick with your feet, because you can't throw until your feet are set. So the quicker you set your feet in the ground, the faster the ball is going to leave, and you got then you got to have something to get you up off the ground. So what Chris's way is the best way.
That's down into the right field corner. Escobar strides around third base. He will score. Getz wants a triple, and he's got it with an RBI. 1-0 Royals in the third. It's a pretty good third inning for Chris Getz.
Well, at first you get the nice double play right here to get the Royals out of trouble. And you can see the left foot come out of the ground, and he's in good shape here. And then he comes up. Ball stays in the middle of the plate. Drives it down in the right field corner to drive in Escobar from first base.
Sixth RBI for Getz, his first triple. And now runner at third with nobody out. And with nobody out, the infield is back. And that's an easy RBI for Melky Cabrera. You hear it all the time. Hitter goes to the plate. Take what the defense will give you. And Cabrera, it's a ground ball to second and drives in his 9th of the year.
So after Chris hits his ball, now what's going to get him the triple is running hard out of the box right away. And then you got to make good turns. And he's still trying to look over his shoulder to see that ball. And so what Doug Sisson said, when the ball is not in front of you, don't look for it. Use your coach.
Alex was reaching, and he pops it into shallow left center. And it's Brantley there for the catch. Alex singled his first time up, so he extended his hitting streak to 13 games. 2 down. New feature at Kauffman Stadium this year is the 390 Bar and Grill, the old stadium club. 65-inch HD televisions throughout the club. It is open to the public. And if you'd like more information, if you'd like to reserve a table, go to royals.com/390. Line to left field. Base hit Billy Butler, who's been on base twice tonight. He walked his first time, and that was his 14th walk, second most in the league.
Take a look at this pitch. It's running right in on his hands, and he really clears his hips well and gets his hands out in front of this. And we've seen Billy take that ball and hit it to right field, up the middle. But he knows his ball can be sinking and coming into his bat, and he just opens up and follows the ball in the left field.
One strike on Jeff Francoeur.
I was looking at 390 Bar and Grill. Does that have any significance at all? Does that have anything to do with George Brett hitting 390 or anything like that?
No, none at all. It's
No?
just a coincidence. Of course it does.
I mean, I never heard about it. I just was curious.
How about if you put that point, that period in front of the 390?
How about if they put Brett Bar and Grill? It's 390 feet high.
Frank,
there's still a lot of things in this park I haven't seen yet.
I think your brain is frozen. We need to close the windows again on here.
I think I'll have a drink of me.
You see that 20 up there on the Royals Hall of Fame? You think that has anything to do with Frank White?
Frank Robinson, probably.
I mean, what are the chances that a guy wins 8 Gold Gloves, he's in the Royals Hall of Fame, and his number is up on the Hall of Fame. I mean,
what can I tell you? I mean, things happen. I got to ask questions. I didn't get a memo on it.
Francoeur strikes out. The Royals get 2 in the 3rd inning. Chris Getz drives in 1 with his first triple, and then he comes home to score on the Cabrera ground out. Here's a Roadrunner turbo speed pitch comparison. Genmar Gomez at 92, Bruce at 89. You can double your speed with Roadrunner Turbo from Time Warner Cable. There we go. So we've got the Chen Dynasty and we've got the French Quarter in the last 2 nights. Shin-Soo Choo, Carlos Santana, Shelley Duncan. The wind might keep that in play, and it doesn't. I don't think Alex knew where the wall was, and he went slamming into the barrier wall. So he was going all out and may have thought the wall was another step or 2 away.
Well, you got to use that right hand to try to help yourself out and try to feel for that wall. But it's almost like he kind of jammed his elbow against the wall on that one.
Shin-Soo Choo strikes out.
He's got the guys in the bullpen out there giving him a razzing. That's a nice pitch from Bruce Chen on the outer half.
So 3 1/3 scoreless tonight, and 17 1/3 consecutive scoreless innings over his last 3 starts. A strike on Carlos Santana. So Bruce has kind of continued what he finished last year with. Bruce has not lost a game since August the 23rd. That was 11 starts ago, going back to last season. He has won 9 of his last 11 decisions and 6 in a row going back to last year. 2 balls and 1 strike. Santana walked on 4 pitches his first time up, and Bruce has walked 2. He has struck out 3, and he's only given up 1 hit, a single. Popped up. The wind will push it over to Keela. 2 down. Another carsoup.com question to the broadcast booth that comes from Drew Willings from Calhoun, Missouri. Drew wants to know, how do you figure slugging percentage? It is total bases divided by official at-bats. And the second part of the question is, what is slugging percentage used for? Normally it's used to see how much power a hitter has, how many extra base hits. So slugging percentage sometimes 500, 600, 700. So thank you for the question, Drew, and thank you to associate producer Al Broughton for putting the equation on the screen for us. Calhoun, Missouri, by the way, Frank, in case you're wondering, and I know you are. Population 491, and it covers 1 square mile. A bullet into left field, and Shelley Duncan is 1 for 2. So the second hit for the Indians, and that brings up Orlando Cabrera. Flied out to center in the second inning. He is 0 for his last 8. Orlando Cabrera has become kind of a modern day Lonnie Smith or Don Baylor. Seems like whatever team he goes to, they go to the playoffs. And he's been to the postseason the last 4 years with 4 different teams. Hit hard to left. It stays up for Alex. Had to fight the lights at the end. But he hangs on, and it's 4 scoreless for Chen. Area Toyota dealers. Top 3 teams in the American League batting averages, and the Royals second to the Indians. Texas Rangers are third. Last year the Royals hit 274 as a team, and that was second in the American League, so early on batting averages are down. The Royals, with 4 hits tonight, have gotten their team batting average up to 270. Wilson Betemit, Keila Kaihue, and Brian Pena here in the 4th. Betemit grounded out his first time up. He has a 10-game hitting streak, tying a career high from 2006, and now a brand new career high, 11 in a row. Back in in the first inning. Alex Gordon extended his to 13.
Yeah, Wilson, their first ball hitting, the first one went to second base, and this one he gets more up the middle. And we talked about the best free agent signings for the Royals in the offseason. Even though he wasn't a free agent, the Royals are just lucky they've had Wilson Bettman on the ball club right now.
And now strike on Keela. He is 0 for 1. Here's Joel Goldberg.
Well, Ryan had a chance to talk with hitting coach Kevin Seitzer today about CLE AT KCA, and he said that maybe moving him down to the 7 hole will help a little bit. It won't fix the problem. He said right now he's just thinking too much. It's all in his head. He's thinking about what am I going to get? Where am I going to get it? The type of swing, the type of pitch. And he said right now it's almost like he's paralyzing himself out there. So got to simplify. He believes that he will get out of this funk eventually. He also said it's not exactly the easiest situation because right now other guys are getting fastballs on a 3-1 count. He's getting changeups on the corner of the plate. They're pitching him real tough right now. They know he's struggling. Eventually he'll work himself out of it, guys.
All right, thanks, Joel. Keela didn't quite get his arms extended on that pitch from Gomez and flies out to right field. So he is 0 for 2 tonight, 0 for 6 in the series. I want to finish up on the Drew Willings question from Calhoun, Missouri. We were talking about slugging percentage and total bases divided by at-bats, or at-bats divided by total bases. And just to simplify a little bit more, to break down total bases, a single would be 1 total base, a double 2, triple 3. So if you have a day where a power hitter, so he hits a home run, he has a double and a single, well, that would be 7 total bases and 3 at-bats. So you would have a higher slugging percentage, and what 4s, 5s are usually good slugging percentages, and then I mentioned you get up into the 6 and the 7s, sometimes the 8s. That's a stat over the last 10 years. Maybe less, it has become more popular. On base plus slugging. Brian Pena, he did everything he could to try and protect the runner. So that was clearly a hit and run, a pitch out. So Brian has to smile over that effort, but who knows? Maybe that was enough to distract the catcher.
Well, and that's what he wants to do. I mean, a lot of times on a ball away like that on pitch out, you just throw your bat out there, and then you. But it was really no need for him to swing at that particular pitch because it was so far outside and the catcher was already in the act of throwing. But a lot of times the guy would just throw his bat out there and just try to foul that ball off in that situation. But good effort on Brian's part.
So Wilson Betemit has a career high 11-game hitting streak, and now he has a career high 3 stolen bases. This is just game number 17 for the Royals. Santana comes way off the bag, but throws a strike to Gomez, who gets to the bag. And Betemit is over to third base. So runner at third for Alcides Escobar, who has singled and has scored a run. And he's put on a show on defense.
Well, he really has, Brian. Right out of the chute, first pitch. He just makes this play very first inning. So you got to be expecting the ball to be hit to you in order to be able to make this play. And here, this double play with Chris Getz got the Royals out of a jam. Chris Getz turned a very tough double play right there.
Escobar with an infield single, hit it to the shortstop Cabrera, who threw it away, but the scorer figured that Escobar would have reached anyway. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1-2. Punch to the right side. Escobar is 2 for 2. Royals take a 3-0 lead in the 4th inning. And he does that down to the count, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And this is really what you do when you get 2 strikes, Ryan. You get away from the big swing, and you just try to put the ball in play. You go right with the pitch. This is a slider on the outer part of the plate. He just stays right down through it. He's got those long arms, good reach. He gets a line drive into right field and gets himself a base hit and an RBI. Excellent piece of 2-strike hitting here.
Now ball 1 to Chris Getz. Trainer Nick Kenny over there to give Betemit a glass of water. Betemit got to be worn down. He's got 3 stolen bases already this year.
Well, the players bought into it in spring training, Ryan, and I think the good thing is that you expected Gerard Dyson to be a base stealer, but the Royals have 5 or 6 guys that run, and that creates a whole lot of stress on the pitcher. And first base coach Doug Sisson is the orchestrator of the base running.
You know, he talks a lot about an attitude, and we got to that last night at the beginning of the broadcast, and the freedom to make some mistakes in spring training. Because I would think some guys, Betemit's probably one of them, who's never really been a runner. He doesn't know what his limits are until he goes out there and just puts his head down, takes some chances, and realizes, well, maybe I can use my legs more than I thought.
And it's all based on the pitcher on the mound. The first base coach, he's got his stopwatch there. He knows how quick the pitcher is to the plate, and he knows the speed of his base runners by now, so he knows who can take advantage of certain situations. A double steal with Billy Butler on the back end. Normally the catcher would go after him, but they were able to complete that double steal.
Escobar went in very late with his slide, jammed up against second base. He gets his 4th stolen base. The Royals have 5 stolen bases in 4 innings. And Escobar might be shaken up. He started that slide very late.
Yeah, when you want to do that slide, you want to get that lead foot to hit the base, and you want to pop up. You slide late, and that bent leg goes in and hits that base like that. He almost had 2 problems at first. Watch the front leg. He hits here, but it pops off, and then he gets that back leg tied up underneath him there, and that shin bone, that base don't move. So that front foot, when it hits the bag, you got to be ready to pop up on that front foot.
Shallow left, and Kearns was shallow, so that's the inning. Royals add a run and give Bruce Chen a 3-0 lead. toasty Fox Sports Kansas City booth. And look, no windows tonight.
Well,
wow.
I'm ready for you guys tonight. I wasn't ready last night, but I'm ready tonight.
And of course, we've got our trusty little heater right here, so we're doing okay. But you got the windows open. In fact, that was one of the topics in our Fox Hot Watch tonight. Was would Frank have the window open for at least 5 innings?
I think that's kind of like payback, and I think they thought that I would not go with that, but I always bet on the winner. So I knew I'd take that one. That's a sure win. I tried to get everybody to come along with me, but some guys went a different direction.
That was a makeup call by Royals Live producer TJ McGinnis, because you boycotted the Fox Watch for 1 day yesterday. And, you know, everything that we have to choose from, we have no control of it. It's completely out of our control. It's what happens on the field. But this one, you had complete control over your selection.
And I tried to get everybody to bet with me, but it's a sure win. I mean, it's a sure bet.
Weak.
Joel and Paul. They came along with me.
3-2 on Austin Kearns. Now Bruce Chen has pitched 18 consecutive scoreless innings over his last 3 starts. Shallow right field. And Francoeur makes the play. Kearns is 0 for 2. Here's another Carsoup.com question to the booth. It comes from Kansas City, Missouri. Roy Bergenstein. Sorry if we mispronounce your name, Roy. Roy wants to know, do you think the Royals will finish in 3rd place or better this year in the American League Central?
Well, it's a tough division, Ryan, and right now you have to believe. I mean, you know that Detroit and you know the White Sox are going to play better. You know the Twins are going to play better. So I think it's going to be a matter of how they continue what they're doing right now. If they continue to get better as a team, the pitching stays the same, especially the starting pitching gets deeper in games, I think they got a chance to surprise some people. But all in all, you got to have some other surprises. The bench players have to play well, and we have guys that really haven't proven themselves a lot on the offensive side, so they're off to good starts. So if they keep it going, and it's a belief that you get, and I think the only addition that really is a real positive for the Royals is that their base running has been aggressive. They're giving themselves more of an opportunity to score runs where last year they didn't. So I think that possibility is there.
Yeah, I agree. And who knows with predictions? Is it possible? Yes. Do I think? I don't know. But I didn't think the Royals would get off to a 10-4 start. I was surprised by that. However, what I'm not surprised about is that since nobody thought, and I'm talking about baseball experts, nobody thought the Royals would do anything this year. I wondered if that would have some sort of effect on the team where it might allow them to relax because of, as Bruce Chen strikes out his 4th and the second time he gets Lou Marson. Based on what Dayton Moore did the previous 2 off seasons, Frank, and filled some holes, the Royals were kind of a trendy pick to maybe contend in the division, and I think that put some pressure on the team. And Dayton still went out and filled some holes this year, but everyone's looking to the future for the Royals, almost like patting the Royals on the head and saying, oh, isn't this cute? We'll see you in 2 or 3 years. And I just wondered if that wouldn't give the team, either relax them a little bit or maybe give them a little bit of an edge. So I'm not surprised that they're playing better than people thought, but I couldn't have predicted the 10-4 start, now 10-6.
Well, I agree with you on that. No one ever thought they'd get off to this kind of a start, but they also have some intangibles like Alex Gordon finally showing the type of offensive player he can be. Chris Getz got off to a great start. Escobar's playing outstanding shortstop. And Wilson Bettermeat is picked up from last year where he was. So it's just a matter of some guys staying the same. You know, Billy Butler staying the same offensively. Soria staying the same in the bullpen. Those are keys. How well was the middle guys in the bullpen going to pitch? They all came out pitching well. So from a confidence standpoint, they're all right where they need to be. And you put that with that aggressive attitude of playing on the field, then you have to kind of say they're better than what everybody expected. And And I just think that they're just in a good spot where they all believe in each other and they all trust each other and all pull for each other.
2 balls and 2 strikes on Adam Everett. And the same could be said for the Cleveland Indians. Nobody thought they were going to do anything. And that maybe next year would be a year that they would contend. A lot of people think Manny Acta's team is about a year ahead of the Royals. Some of their guys got their feet wet last year. They were the youngest team last year. They had prospects, a lot of prospects in AAA. The bulk of the Royals prospects were in AA last year. Most would agree that the Royals farm system as a whole is better than the Indians. But as far as right here, right now, they might be a year ahead. And early in the season, they're a little ahead of the Royals in the standings.
Well, you're right, Ryan. The experience does make a big difference at this level, and the Royals is needed for some players to get better, and those players they need to get better are getting better. Alex Gordon is definitely better. Malcolm Cabrera, Jeff Francoeur, they've been really good for this ball club to this point, and that's it. And they all veteran guys, and I think that really helps these other guys because these guys have an opportunity, like you say, to fly under the radar for a while, but they're also a team that is getting mentioned more and more as you turn on your television sets every day.
That's a couple of painful walks for Bruce Chen tonight, walking Adam Everett, the number 9 hitter. In the 3rd inning, Everett was behind 0-2 and eventually walked. This time he was behind 1-2 and takes a 2-out walk, and that brings up a more dangerous hitter in Michael Brantley.
Well, that's the one area that Bruce Chen was hoping to improve in is the walks. And you're averaging 5 innings, maybe 6 innings, and you walk more than 3 guys, you kind of put yourself in a position where you can get hurt. He's been bailed out by some good defense, and that's what a pitcher like him needs because he's going to put the ball in play and he's going to nibble around the edges so the walks can occur. But your defense got to pick you up.
Brantley lost a hit on the best defensive play tonight, and that was to open the game. Alcides Escobar going to the hole, making a long throw to gun down Brantley, and then Brantley singled to center field. Just missed, 2 balls and no strikes.
I just really look at Fox tracks so you can see where Bruce is really trying to work the corners. He knows he can't live in the middle of the plate, so he's just trying to get the umpire to give him those corners, and he's just much more effective that way.
Getz charges in, and that's the inning. So the walk is harmless, and 5 scoreless for Chen. So does Brian Pena with a 3-0 lead, and now Bruce, with 5 scoreless innings tonight, has 19 over his last 3 starts. Here's tonight's You Call It, presented by Sprint, and an update. What is your favorite offseason free agent signing? And Jeff Francoeur running away with 46% of the votes. Foul ball off the foot of Melky Cabrera. He is 0 for 2, but he has an RBI. Royals got 2 in the 3rd inning. Chris Getz with a triple got Alcides Escobar to the plate, and then with Getz at 3rd base and the infield back, Melky hit a routine ground ball to 2nd, but a productive out as he drove in a run. Brantley gets turned around, and it's over his head, and it's off the wall. Leadoff double for Melky Cabrera, and his 2nd double in the series.
You take a look at Cabrera here, and this is a good piece of hitting here, Ryan. This is a changeup that's left up out over the plate, and to be able to hit a changeup like this, first of all, it's got to be up, but you also got to be able to look for it, and he does a good job of driving this ball over Brantley's head in center field.
Ball 1 to Alex.
Well, Alex's job right now is to get a ground ball to 2nd base or the 1st base, to hit a deep fly ball to help get Cabrera over to 3rd base to get him 90 feet away from home plate.
2 balls, no strikes. Alex singled, stole 2 bases in the 1st inning, his first 2 of the year, and the single gives him a career-high 13-game hitting streak. He is 1 for 2 tonight. That's his 2nd hit. That'll do better than get Cabrera to 3rd. That will get him home. Back-to-back doubles and a 4-0 Royals lead.
This is a really, really good piece of hitting right here. This pitch is going down and away, and the old Alex Gordon would have rolled over on this pitch and hit a ground ball to 2nd, but he stays right through this pitch. He's just on his backside and just drives this ball over shortstop, and it splits the outfielders and goes all the way to the wall. And you see Cabrera that's a casually strolling the home plate on a ball like that.
This is the Royals' 17th game, and Alex Gordon already has 8 multi-hit games. Billy Butler hits it up the middle. Cabrera slides, throws, and got him. Alex still goes to 3rd, but Asdrubal Cabrera saved a run. Buck Night and Fireworks Friday will be back at Kauffman Stadium on April the 29th. The Royals will host the Minnesota Twins at 7:10. You can purchase hot dogs, small Pepsi products, and peanuts for just $1 each. And be sure to stay after the game for a great fireworks show presented by Hy-Vee and Pepsi. Infield in, and a strike to Jeff Francoeur. Francoeur has hit in 8 straight games. Tonight, he is grounded back to the mound, and he is struck out. One ball, 1 strike. Those 2 at-bats were his first 2 ever against Gomez, so should have a good feel now for what he has. Tried to take the slider to right field, and the count is 1-2.
Yeah, Gomez slider really hasn't had that good break to it. It's going away, but it's kind of hanging up out over the plate. Escobar with 2 strikes was able to move it into right field for a base hit, and you see where Frank Tour had an outstanding swing at it.
Line base hit. "12 RBIs for Frank Coeur, second only to Alex Gordon, and he does extend his hitting streak to 9 games. And the Royals take a 5-0 lead.
But Gomez takes him out there with that slider, and then he comes right back with a fastball up out over the plate, and he's just been making a great effort to drive the ball that direction. And you can see where his hands and eyes are right on this pitch. This ball is smoked in the right center field.
So a good night for the Royals offense so far, with 5 runs, 9 hits in less than 5 innings. They had scored 5 runs combined in their last 2 games. 2 runs and a loss to Seattle on Sunday, and then 3 runs in a loss to Cleveland last night. So that'll warm up the fans just a little bit. 45 degrees and dropping. That was the first pitch temperature. And after Tim Belcher goes out to visit with Gomez, former Royal Chad Durbin warms up in the right field bullpen. Down and away to Wilson Betemit.
As a manager and pitcher coach, you really don't want to see a sinker ball or get the ball up. It seems like every time Gomez got the ball up, the Royals have made him pay for it tonight.
Way outside, 2-0. So Alex Gordon, Jeff Francoeur, and Wilson Betemit have all extended their hitting streaks tonight. Gordon to 13, Francoeur to 9, Betemit to 11. And for Gordon and Betemit, those are new career highs. Taking all the way, 2 balls, 1 strike. Betemit's previous career high was 10 back in 2006 when he was playing for the Dodgers. Now Francoeur is running, but slams on the brakes. He didn't like his jump. And it is 3-1 to Betemit.
Well, if he wants to run, this would be a good time for him to do it right here. 3-1 count.
Not going, and Betemit walks, and we'll see if that's the end of the line for Genmar Gomez, and it is. So a Chevy call to the bullpen for the Indians, and Chad Durbin comes out of a familiar bullpen. Gomez in 4 1/3 innings. They score 5 runs, 9 hits. And now former Royal Chad Durbin, who made the team as a non-roster player, signed late in spring training, and he is on for the 7th time. Tonight's copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Kansas City Royals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. Ryan Lefevre with Frank White, Joe Goldberg, producer Kevin Schenk, director Steve Kurtenbach, associate producers Al Broughton, Sam Abramson, and the producer of Royals Live is TJ McGinnis. And our bundled up Fox Sports Kansas City crew on a cold night at Kauffman Stadium, a 5-0 lead, and it will be CLE at KCA to face Durbin with 2 on and 1 out. Over the outside for strike 1. Royals up to 275 as a team, but hitting .409 tonight. Gila's trying to join the party. He is 0 for 2 with a strikeout and 0 for 6 in the series.
Yeah, just watching him tonight, Ryan, it looks like he's just guessing wrong. You know, he's taking the first. Early he was attacking the first pitch fastball. Now he's taking the first pitch fastball, and then he's having a chase on the second pitch, balls that aren't strikes, and that you're taking a good pitch and swinging that off bad pitches, and I think that's what Seitzer was talking about, is just thinking too much. You just got to eliminate one of them, beyond one of them, and you'll be okay. But the thing that you do in this situation that you can't afford to do, you can't lose your aggressiveness. You got to stay aggressive.
Still 1 ball, 2 strikes. Melky Cabrera started all this with a double. Then Alex Gordon doubled. Billy Butler lost a hit on a great play up the middle by Asdrubal Cabrera. That's the only out of the inning. Jeff Francoeur drove in a run with a single. Wilson Betemit walked, and then the pitching change. Just missed down and away. Francoeur's at second, Betemit at first. Did he go? Yes. Third base umpire is Paul Schreiber.
And that's usually what happens when you're not going good. The umpires know you're not going good, and then you just commit a little bit too much. The arms are out front, but the bat head did not go ahead of the wrist, so it's not really a strike. But the umpires will tell you the dark bats are harder to call. Check swings for it.
So 2 on for Brian Pena. Left field. Kearns was shallow, but he backs up and brings it down. The Royals add 2 for a 5-0 lead. began with Chris Getz and a triple in the 3rd inning. Driving in Alcides Escobar, Melky Cabrera got Getz to the plate with a ground out. In the 4th inning with 2 outs, Escobar with 2 strikes drove in Wilson Bettamy. Alex Gordon with an RBI double in the 5th inning, getting Cabrera home. And then Jeff Francoeur down 1 ball, 2 strikes, scores Gordon. And now you are up to date. So on one side, 5 runs, 9 hits. On the other side, Bruce Chen has pitched 5 scoreless innings. He has only allowed 2 hits. A single to Shelley Duncan in the 4th and to Michael Brantley in the 3rd. "19 consecutive scoreless innings for Bruce Chen over his last 3 starts. Line to right, and when you're going well, when the balls are hit hard, there is somebody standing right there. Let's take a look at tonight's AT&T trivia question. Who holds the Royals record for the longest scoreless inning streak by a lefty? Darrell May. What are you laughing at?
You're probably right. That came out pretty quick. We got Bob McClure, Charlie Lieber. Just throwing lefties out there. You got Gura, Bud Black,
Paul Splittorff.
Split.
Jimmy Gobble. Jeremy Offelt. I'm just thinking some guys more recently. You're looking at me like I was looking at you when you asked if there was any connection between the 390 Club.
I was just reading the copy. It didn't say George's name.
And the answer is Split. 24 consecutive scoreless innings in 1975. I was 4, by the way. Bruce has 5 strikeouts tonight. Here's the list of the top 6. So Bruce is on there twice, combining last year and this year. There's Split with that great game face as he was about to deliver the pitch. A much easier play for Escobar. 6 scoreless innings for Bruce tonight, and now 20 in a row.
On over the Indians. This is a Sonic Slam inning. Our contestant is George Burgard from Blue Springs, Missouri. If the Royals hit a home run this inning, George will win $1,700. But if the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park, George will win $25,000 from Sonic and the Kansas City Royals.
Chad Durbin back to work in the 6th. He recorded the final 2 outs of the 5th in relief of Genmar Gomez. Alcides Escobar was hitting .219 when the game began. He has 2 singles tonight, a run scored, an RBI, a stolen base, a couple of very good plays on defense. And he's added 23 points to his batting average. Here, he'll be thrown out by Adam Everett. So he's 2 out of 3. So Chad Durbin, 33 years old. Seems like just yesterday when he spent the 1999 season at AA. At that time, the AA affiliate was in Wichita. His season was over, so he went home. All of a sudden, the Royals were short in the bullpen. He hadn't pitched in a couple of weeks, and they not only called him up, but they called him up to Old Tiger Stadium in the final series ever played there. The Royals happened to be there for the last 3 games. And Chad Durbin made his major league debut as a 21-year-old in front of a packed house at Tiger Stadium. Came into the game with the bases loaded and got the Royals out of the inning. And then the next year was in the starting rotation. Had Tommy John surgery on his right elbow in 2002. And has made a nice career for himself as a reliever. Pitched in the World Series 2 different years with the Philadelphia Phillies.
Yeah, Chad was always a very aggressive guy, very aggressive pitcher. When he was on the mound, he's very intense on the mound. And like you say, after the injury, and he really has had a great career.
I remember when he was just getting his feet wet in the big leagues and would get so aggressive and so amped up. He used to have a quote on the inside of the bill of his cap. And the quote was designed for him to calm down. And remember, in between batters, he would go to the back of the mound, he'd take his cap off, he would look at the quote, put the cap back on, and that would be inspiration for him just to slow things down. On the ground to Asdrubal Cabrera. Chris Getz is out. He is 1 for 4. So Durbin is faced 4 and retired 4. As a big leaguer, Chad Durbin has pitched for the Royals, for the Indians in 03 and 04, for the Tigers. Good timing with the Phillies, 08, 09 last year, and now back with the Indians again. Want to know on Melky Cabrera, 1 for 3 with a double and an RBI. Also has a run scored. One ball, 1 strike. Right to Cabrera again. So 5 up, 5 down against Chad Durbin. And at the end of 6, the Royals still lead 5-0. As we go to the 7th inning, we remind you that Pepsi Max is proud to be the official drink of the Royals and the Fox Sports Kansas City broadcast booth. Look for these special edition Frank White Pepsi Max cans at your neighborhood Hy-Vee. On Saturday, April the 30th, Frank will be at Hy-Vee and Gladstone from 11 a.m. to noon. So come on out, share a Pepsi Max with Frank. In fact, they're giving away free cans of Frank. Saturday, April the 30th. Does it taste as good now as it did the first time you took a sip?
Every time I take a sip, it tastes even better. Because I know it's 0 calories.
No runs, 2 hits for the Indians. Shelley Duncan has one of those hits, a single in the 4th inning. Michael Brantley has the other, a single in the 3rd. Bruce has walked 3. So 5 base runners for Cleveland. They have stranded 4. Royals turn to double play in the 3rd inning, and Bruce jumps ahead, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Curveball, and Duncan with a good swing to go down and get it, but he hits it right to Alex Gordon. And a pretty good extension by the big right-hand batter, 1 away.
Yeah, Bruce is really conducive to this big ballpark here. This is a curveball. They haven't thrown a lot of those tonight, but this ball goes down, and you can see Duncan's out front a little bit on this curveball. And he hit, even though he hit it well, he hit it at the end of the swing and not in the, and didn't maximize it back in his swing like he normally would be.
And now a strike to Orlando Cabrera, who is 0 for 2, and now 0 for his last 9. Now, why does a guy do that? Explain that to me. No balls, 1 strike, and you just sit there and you take all the way and you let a fastball go by. I've never understood that.
I can't figure it out either. I can't answer that one. I mean, it's not like he's trying to see a pitch, is it?
I mean, I can understand on the very first pitch, and it's a 5-run game, and they need base runners, and you're trying to make it a little harder on Bruce, but 0-1, and this guy's been around a long time. I mean, far be it for me to question his motives, but I mean, he just allowed Bruce Chen to jump ahead, no balls, 2 strikes.
Well, I'm going to try to think with him a little bit. He's probably saying, okay, he threw me a fastball for a strike. He will not throw me another fastball for a strike. So he's hoping he goes to something else and throw a ball. Count goes to 1-1, and now he's even again.
He's hitting 161 when he's behind in the count. Well, there you go. Good night, everybody. That's why Orlando Cabrera is Orlando Cabrera. Faith and Family Day will kick off on Sunday, May the 1st. The Royals will take on the Twins at 1:10. The event is hosted by KCTV's chief meteorologist Katie Horner and will include a speech by Jim Morris, the inspiration for the popular Disney movie The Rookie, as well as speeches by Royals executives and players. Faith and Family Day, Sunday, May the 1st. Well, that's the last time I question the motives of Orlando Cabrera. Maybe he figured, hey, I'm hitting 161 when I'm down in the count. I'm 0 for my last 9. Let's mix it up. Francoeur blocks the line drive from Kearns. So Cabrera moves up to second base. And there are 2 on with 1 out.
Well, you can see here that Bruce is starting to get the ball up a little bit more in the zone. And then the hitters are starting to make some kind of an adjustment. The right-handed hitters, you see Kern goes to right field. Cabrera went back up through the middle. So now Bruce has to make an adjustment and maybe come inside a little bit more with his fastball. So you see here, well, Francoeur is very fortunate that this ball didn't go through his arm and right by him. But you see that look at his face like, man, that's got to be like a scary feeling there, that you don't know how this ball's going to bounce. You have no backup behind you, and this ball gets by. You got to chase it all by yourself. And the outfielders hate that feeling.
And it stings a little more on a cold night like this. That's driven to right center field. A long run for Melky, and he won't get there. The Indians will score 2. And Lou Marson, who struck out his first 2 times against Bruce Chen, he drives into, and Bruce's long streak comes to an end. It is a 5-2 game.
Like I said, Bruce is really starting to get the ball up. Didn't make an adjustment, stayed in the same place. The right-hand hitters have obviously made an adjustment in this inning, taking him the other way, and Lou Marson drives this ball into right center field. So Cabrera goes as far as he can go and had to play this one off the wall and get it back in, but 2 runs scored before this play was over. You see Cabrera comes in, followed by Kern. So that's when you got to recognize when hitters have made an adjustment to you, and then you got to go to something else. Bruce stayed with the fastball all 3 times out over the plate, and you got 3 base hits.
And the ball was hit hard, but got some help from the wind. That's the right place to hit the ball tonight. Anywhere from right center over into the right field corner. So Kanekoa Teixeira warms up behind Bruce Chen as first base umpire and crew chief Joe West asked Ned Yost and Darren Ivey, longtime KCMO police officer and for years has been in front of the Royals dugout during batting practice and during the game. And now he goes over to the Indians dugout to say something to Manny Acta. So anyway, that was interesting.
Yeah, we didn't see anything unusual happening on the field.
Off the end of the bat, shallow left. Alex is there. Marson able to get back to second base. So 2 down. Well, you got the first base umpire calling Ned Yost out, and including a Kansas City cop who then goes over and talks to the Indians manager. So Bruce Chen's streak ends at 20 1/3 innings, 20 1/3 consecutive scoreless innings, going back 3 starts. 8 scoreless innings on Friday against Seattle. And then prior to that, Bruce had 6 scoreless innings on April the 9th at Detroit. Inside to Brantley. 1 ball, 1 strike. Now Blake Wood has replaced Kanekoa Teixeira out in the Royals left field bullpen. He drops down and Brantley lines it to left field. Here comes Marson. Here comes Alex's throw. Pena's got it. Blocks the plate like a brick wall.
We see Alex comes in, Ryan, and this is a great release. Brian does a great job blocking the plate.
early because of this play. Well, first of all, the throw by Alex Gordon and the play at the plate by Brian Pena.
Well, Ryan, that is classic right there. What a catcher wants is a good long hop, and Alex does a good job right there. The ball hits and skips right into Brian's glove, right in time to make a tag on Marsan at the plate. I mean, this is an outstanding play of just not giving him anywhere to go. He has one place to go, and that's over the top. And when he went in feet first, then it was really to Brian's advantage at that point. And there you go, catcher-pitcher relationship. That's two.
I got your back, buddy.
That's 2 for Brian this year.
Yeah, and both times Bruce Chen was on the mound. And the other play we're talking about was for Bruce a couple of starts ago when the Royals were in Detroit. That was a relay from Alex Gordon to Alcides Escobar to Brian Pena to get Will Rhymes at the plate. Everett runs near the bag, and Alex is thrown out on a close play.
Well, you can see right here how close this play really was.
Looked like the right call.
I tell you, the umpires really, really have some tough calls. Oof. You know, when it's fast and live action, it looks a lot different than what we see right there.
Oh, man, look at that. That is close. So 1 away to Billy Butler as Chad Durbin has faced 6 and retired 6. Billy on base twice with a walk, a single. He also has a stolen base. That was on the back end of a double steal, and the Royals have stolen 5 tonight. Got underneath it. Shallow center. Michael Brantley wants it. 2 down. You can sign up today for Slugger's Blue Crew, presented by U.S. Toy, and reserve your spot in the best kids club in Major League Baseball. Get cool Royals gear made especially for Blue Crew members, 2 Royals ticket vouchers, outfield activity coupons, a Sprint Fun Run Fast Pass, and much more. All of that for $20. Jeff Francoeur has a 9-game hitting streak after an RBI single in the 5th inning, his 12th run driven in this year, second only to Alex Gordon's 13. He broke his bat on that ground ball, and it is 0-2. Lost in the great play at home plate by Brian Pena, receiving the throw from Alex Gordon, is that the Indians got themselves back into the game with a 2-run 7th against Bruce Chen, and now Bruce is up over 100 pitches, and Blake Wood continues to throw in the Royals bullpen. Down goes Francoeur, and down go the Royals. 5-2 Royals to the top of the 8th inning, and now Panera will take us around the American League. Tampa Bay starting to warm up after a slow start. They are 1 game under 500 after beating Chicago. Baltimore snaps an 8-game losing streak big time, beating Minnesota 11-0. Yankees in front of the Blue Jays. They're in the 8th inning. Angels in front of Texas. Angels trying to get even with the Rangers in the West with a win. Boston is at Oakland. And Detroit just getting underway with Seattle. Chevy call to the bullpen. It's Blake Wood. He'll get Asdrubal Cabrera, Shin-Soo Choo, and Carlos Santana. And Blake's 3rd appearance since being called up when Robinson Tejeda went on the disabled list. So Bruce Chen gives up 2 runs in 7 innings. And that puts an end to his streak. He had gone 20 1/3 innings without allowing an earned run. He did give up an unearned run in his last start against the Mariners on Friday. But as far as earned runs go, he had gone 20 1/3 without allowing one. 1 ball, 1 strike. So if the bullpen can hang on, Bruce Chen would win his 7th consecutive decision going back to last year, and 10 out of his last 12. 1 and 2 on Cabrera.
Well, you can't get any more consistent than that. And he pitches the same way, goes out about the game the same way. The 1 inning, he just basically didn't make any adjustments, just kept the ball up, out over the plate, stayed mainly with the fastball, and that's how he got hurt.
2 balls, 2 strikes. The Royals' ERA on this homestand before Bruce Chen tonight was 1.67, and we showed you the full turn through the rotation at the top of the broadcast. And everybody with a strong start. Kyle Davies ended up with a no decision last night, going 6 innings, giving up 2 runs and striking out 7. Chop to Getz, 1 away. It's been a tough last 2 games for the bullpen. Blake Wood included in that. Jeff Francis left the game in the 7th inning on Sunday. Blake Wood gave up a 2-run base hit. The runs were charged to Francis, but it was that important inherited runner scoring statistic for the bullpen. And then remember last night, Royals bullpen walked 7 after Kyle Davies departed. And the Indians scored 4 in the 10th against Tim Collins. Now they're trying to hold it and perhaps save it for Bruce Chen. Two 2-0 on Shin-Soo Choo. 0 for 3 against Chen tonight with a couple of strikeouts. 1 for 8 in the series, and he's batting .203.
It's awful hard to imagine him batting .203. He's one of the better hitters in the game.
We read up on the teams that are either coming to town or if the Royals are going somewhere on the road and reading about how Shin-Soo Choo is struggling, and it's like, yeah, I want to see that. And he just wore a hole into the Royals pitching staff last year. He had a 3-home run game against KC, his first and only 3-home run game of his big league career. And when it was all said and done, he hit .377 against the Royals with 4 home runs and 20 driven in. Still 2-2. Something significant happened to Shin-Soo Choo during the offseason. He played for Team South Korea and they won the Asian Games. It's a baseball tournament that is played with Japan, China, and Taiwan, South Korea. And by winning that, he got an exemption from military service. A 1-out single to center field. And that was a concern because as a native of South Korea, all men are required, I think it's 3 years of military service before they reach the age of 30. And you can either actually serve in the military, or if you win a gold medal in the Olympics, or you win a special tournament, in this case South Korea winning the Asian Games, if they had finished second or third, it wouldn't have counted. I think if he had won a silver medal in the Olympics, it wouldn't have counted. But that is one way to get the exemption. So Shin-Soo Choo was getting to a point where he was going to have to make a difficult decision. He will steal second base without a throw. If he decided to stay here in the United States and dodge, if you will, his military commitment, then he would not be welcome back to his home country.
Didn't it have something to do with by age 30? It had to
I think that's the age. That's the age.
That's a lot of pressure to play under. And he played great over here. I mean, I'm sure he was rooting for his team real hard during those games. You know, I think everybody kind of knew what they were playing for.
And I'm sure his teammates were rooting for him as well. I mean, it's good for South Korean baseball to have a player like Shin-Soo Choo playing well in the major leagues. And he's had back-to-back 2020 seasons, at least 20 home runs and 20 stolen bases. Caught the inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Carlos Santana.
You know, that's a pitch that it's a very, very effective pitch. They throw it right at the belt, and the batter always gives it up at that, and he just gives up on this pitch and runs back out over the plate. I'm just surprised it's not used more. Greg Maddux made a habit of using this pitch, and it got him a long way. He didn't throw nearly as hard as most guys. He was 88, 89 miles an hour.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
You know, Brian really doesn't get an opportunity to catch many right-handed pitchers, and this is a real good slider from Blake Wood in the ground, and Brian did a good job of sliding over and stopping this ball.
That keeps Choo at second base. Otherwise, he moves up 90 feet, and Santana with it out could make it a 2-run game. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
So you have an effective pitch like the one you threw to Santana that made him give up on the ball inside, and you steal the inside corner. So to me, that would be the pitch I would go back to right now, because I know that he hasn't shown me that he can make an adjustment to that pitch.
Past Blake Wood and out into center field. So Choo scores to make it a 2-run game. Santana had been 2 out of 32 prior to that at bat. That is his 9th RBI of the season.
You know, this is a 3-2 pitch. This is right down the heart of the plate, and Santana gets the ball right back through the middle. That's two bases up the middle, right by Blake Wood. But you know, Ryan, to go back to that pitch to Santana where he gave it up and the inside corner was available, and they never went back to it again. So up here at the major leagues, sometimes you have to go back to the well until they make you change.
Travis Hafner is going to bat for Shelley Duncan. So the Indians go with a left-hand bat against Blake Wood. And remember, the Royals only have one lefty in the bullpen, and that's Tim Collins, who had a long 10th inning last night. Duncan was 1 for 3. 0-1 on Travis Hafner, who will be facing Blake Wood for the first time. Hafner, the last 3 years, has been bothered by a bad right shoulder. He had surgery on that shoulder at the end of the 2008 season, and then spent time on the DL in 09 and last year as the shoulder continued to bother him. And that would be his front shoulder, so the pole shoulder, if you will. Hafner last night had 2 hits, and both were doubles. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Yeah, he's a lot healthier now, and he's got 4 home runs already. And he didn't really get his 4th home run last year till May 22nd. That was their 41st game into the season.
Teixeira was warming up at one point as the Royals batted in the bottom of the 7th inning, and then was replaced by Blake Wood. 2-1. Hafner was a monster. It doesn't seem like it was that long ago, but in 2006, 42 home runs. He hit over 300. In 07, when the Indians nearly went to the World Series, 24 home runs, 100 RBIs. Then the shoulder bothered him in 08. 5 home runs, 16 home runs, 13 home runs. 2-2. Talk about how much work Alex Gordon did with Kevin Seitzer during the offseason. Travis Hafner did the same thing with Indians hitting coach and former Royal John Nunnally. John Nunnally moved his family to Cleveland during the offseason, and he was with Travis Hafner just about every day trying to get his swing back on track.
Well, I mean, he's really off to a better start this year than he had been in the last couple of years. And you know, a lot of times when you have that freedom of movement in your shoulders, and he's always had a decent eye at the plate, and the way he can work out a good pitch to hit. And then you see John Nunley there. I remember when he first came up with the Royals, and he had some tremendous bat speed to the inside, but he has a good knowledge of left-handed hitting, and I think that Hafner basically just had good health.
Boy, he just laid off a great pitch. A change-up that faded down and away. And
he's got a great eye.
Blake Wood strikes him out.
This is really a pitcher's pitch here on the outside corner, sinking away. And after he just swings right over the top of it.
So 2 down with a runner at first, and now it's Orlando Cabrera. Put an end to an 0 for 9 with a single, and he came around to score last inning. Ball 1. Talking about John Nunnally, and there he is right behind Orlando Cabrera sitting on the Indians bench. He was a Rule 5 pick for the Royals back in 1995, and he hit a home run in his first major league at bat. Don't expect that from a Rule 5 guy.
You really don't, but he loved the ball middle and down. He could really get some bat speed going on that pitch.
Up the right field line, Francoeur across the line to make a nice play. Indians continue to chip away. It is a 2-run game. Ford you're looking for at thoroughbredford.com. And by Steel. Are you ready for a steal? Two-run game before we get to the bottom of the 8th. Here's Joel Goldberg.
All right, whenever this one ends, you never know with these two teams how competitive they have been. We will have Boulevard Royals live. Jeff Montgomery and myself coming to you from Rivals. We'll be talking about the running Royals. 5 stolen bases so far tonight. Number of hit streaks, including Wilson Betemit, who's getting ready to step to the plate. We'll talk about those. Hear from Ned Yost, Bruce Chen's night, and much more coming up on Boulevard Royals Live. Ryan?
All right, thank you, Joel. It's Justin Germano on for the bottom of the 8th inning. Former Royal Chad Durbin with 2 2/3 perfect innings. He faced 8, retired 8. So he was able to slow down the Royals offense. They scored 5 runs in less than 5 innings against Genmar Gomez. It'll be Wilson Betemit, Keila Kaihue, and Brian Pena. Betemit in the 4th inning singled, stole a base, his career high 3rd. This is just game number 17, and came around to score. And that base hit gave him another career high, an 11-game hitting streak. Joakim Soria getting ready for the top of the 9th inning, and he'll get the lower 3rd of the Indians' order. Royals scored 2 in the 3rd inning, with Getz and Cabrera driving in the runs. In the 4th, Alcides Escobar got a run home, and in the 5th, it was Gordon and Francoeur. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Germano pitched the bottom of the 10th inning last night, and with a 4-run lead got the Royals 1-2-3. Betemit might have chased ball 4, so it's still 3-2.
Wilson is doing like a lot of veteran hitters do. You got to get that. You got to foul that borderline pitch off. You don't want to leave it up to the umpire. You know, put it in your own hands.
And he walks. Remember, you can take your group out to Kauffman Stadium and you will save big. Groups of 20 or more get a significant discount compared to single game ticket prices. So if you're interested, call 816-504-4040 or visit royals.com/group. Keila going to try and lay down a bunt. Tried to do the same thing last night, and we told you that he has 1 sacrifice bunt in his time in the big leagues, 17 sacrifice bunts in the minor leagues.
Well, when you're struggling, it seems like it's all the way around when you're a big guy. A little guy that bunts a lot, they can kind of help the team a little bit more in that area, but when you don't bunt a lot, you only get 1 chance at it. Sometimes you got to make it work.
And he's down, no balls, 2 strikes. So right now nothing is going his way. Tough night so far tonight. 0 for 3, couple of strikeouts, and batting at 151. And he's going to try and bunt with 2 strikes, and he gets it down. Germano's throw is just in time. A lot of times when that happens with 2 strikes, that doesn't come from the bench. That's a hitter's way of saying, you know what, I'm going to get this job done.
Well, it's something to feel good about yourself. You know, it would have felt terrible if he bunts into a 3rd strike, but I mean, this really helps him emotionally. I mean, he feels like now I've done something to help the ball club. And maybe that's going to be enough to get his focus back the right way. So that takes a lot of guts in this situation to bunt, you know, with 2 strikes.
Here's tonight's Chevy play of the game, and we take you back to the 7th inning.
Well, you take a look at Alex. I mean, he really didn't have a good grip at first. His feet moved so fast, and a nice one-hop throw to Brian Payne at the plate, who gave Lou Marchand nowhere to go.
Santana gets a big hop. He'll go to the bag himself. Bedamit moves up to third base. So Brian is 0 for 4 tonight. And it comes down to Germano and Alcides Escobar. Escobar was down to 219 when the game began. He reached with an infield single in the 3rd inning, came around to score. And then in the 4th, with 2 outs and 2 strikes, shortened his swing, went to right field, and got Bedamit to the plate. And he's trying to do the same thing here in the 8th. Missed the breaking ball, 2 strikes. Where are his eyes?
I don't think that's the best I've seen yet.
And second base umpire Angel Hernandez. We think. Angel Hernandez lives in Miami, and this is not quite Miami weather. Just missed.
Well, Escobar's really shown the ability with 2 strikes to kind of slow. He's very aggressive on his first 2 swings, and then he really cuts it down to try to put the ball in play with 2 strikes.
Germano underhands to first, and that's the inning. So last chance for the Indians. Joakim Soria in with a 2-run lead. It was a long one last night, 10 innings, and Cleveland winning 7-3. Royals had a 5-0 lead until the Indians got 2 in the 7th, 1 in the 8th. They'll send up Austin Kearns, Lou Marson, and Adam Everett against Joakim Soria. Austin Kearns, 1 out of 3, singled and scored in the Indians' 2-run 7th inning. Soria trying to save it for Bruce Chen, who gave up 2 runs in 7 innings. Backhanded by Bedamit, and his long throw is low, and it skips past Keela.
Nelson does everything right. He's get the ball. Now he takes his crow hop, but just kind of let up on that throw just a little bit. And this is a long hop. And but if he just went under Keeler's glove at first base. I mean, he was in position, had everything right. But sometimes, you know, you got to get off the base and just block the ball. But he did everything he could to make this play.
Well, the tying run is at the plate with nobody out. And Lou Marson off to a rough start tonight with strikeouts in his first 2 at-bats against Bruce Chen, but then hit a 2-run double in the 7th inning, and then he was thrown out at the plate on a good throw and a good block. Good throw by Gordon, good block by Pena.
This is a pitch that Soria hadn't been throwing much of, and that's his curveball at 81. He's got one slower than that, and I think that he's been mainly fastball. Maybe because couldn't get the feel for the ball.
1 ball, 2 strikes, and he is blowing hot air into his hand after every pitch. So this is similar to a game from the other night against Seattle, where bullpen is out there freezing all night. And of course, you know, the accountable and manly thing to say is, well, I'm not making any excuses. You know, I just didn't get the job done. But man, you're out there and they've got those heat lamps out there to keep the guys warm in the bullpen. But at the same time, I mean, it's still cold. And then you got to come in, your hands are frozen, swollen from the cold. Soria strikes out Marson for the first out, and immediately blowing hot air into his hand.
Well, you're talking about sitting out there for almost 3 hours sometimes before you come in the game. But you just take a real good look at this changeup. This ball goes down and in. Outstanding pitch by Soria.
Manny Acta went to his bench last inning and had Travis Hafner hit for Shelley Duncan. And now it'll be Grady Sizemore. So a couple of guys who got the night off from the starting lineup are weapons that Manny Acta can use off the bench in the late innings. 0-1 to Sizemore. Soria pitched the 9th inning last night, and Sizemore singled off of him. But Soria only faced 3. A couple of batters after that, Shin Soo Choo grounded into a double play. Line to left field, slicing away from Gordon, who dives. He got it again. The left field line has become Death Valley for American League hitters.
Well, especially those left-handers, he does a great job of tracking this ball. This ball is slicing away from him toward the line. He get a good beat on it, and that's what them plays find. If the ball gets by him, then that's not a good thing. So he's got to be sure he can make this play, and there he does an outstanding job of catching this ball right here.
That ball is slicing on him. It is sinking on him. So we've seen both extremes in this inning, an error on a routine play and an excellent play on a very difficult line drive for Alex Gordon. Stroke to center field. Man, Michael Brantley's had some great swings in this series, and now the tying run is at first base. That is his 3rd hit tonight, and remember, he lost a hit when he led off the game, and Alcides Escobar ran to the hole and threw him out.
Yeah, this is a real good pitch he hit right here. Look how quick his hands get down underneath this ball. He just stays through this ball right into center field. This is a nice swing. Soria threw his pitch in a nice place down. There's not much you can do about that base hit right there. It's a good piece of hitting.
And now Asdrubal Cabrera. Royals are 10-6. It has not been an easy 10-6. I was talking to somebody today who is thrilled with the Royals start, was afraid, however, that they might lose all of their hair before we even get to the month of May. All the extra inning games, all the games that seem to come down to the last hitter with the tying run on base, or the tying run in scoring position, or the tying run at the plate.
You know, Ryan, just getting to the point where when the game is 3 outs away, making the routine plays. The difficult plays are going to take care of themselves, but you get yourself in trouble in these situations, one on the pitching side by walking guys, and one on the defensive side by not making a routine play.
Pena makes a great block. The runners will advance. Brian did everything he could, but it looked like that ball still had some spin on it. Nope, it hit Cabrera. I was going to say, Brian, he was. So a hit batter on the bounce.
Yeah, bounce
came up and grazed him. Yeah,
good. And Brian just lost his balance trying to keep up with it, but not much you can do with that pitch there. That's definitely a pitch that can't be handled by the catcher.
I was going to say, I mean, he blocked it, but it still had a lot of action on it, and even though he got his body in front of it, it still rolled quite a ways to his right. Now the tying run is in scoring position, and Shin-Soo Choo takes a fastball for strike one.
Well, as you can tell in this inning, maybe it's the weather, I'm not sure, but you know, Joaquin's breaking ball is it's just really not there. I mean, he just can't find the grip on it. The best command pitch for him is his fastball, and he did throw a real good changeup.
Last night, Soria faced Shin-Soo Choo with 1 on, 1 out, and got him to ground into a double play. Just down and away. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, just take a look at Brian and how he handles this pitch. See how the glove goes out. When the glove goes out, it gives you the impression that the ball is outside the plate to keep that glove up, the thumb up. Then it makes a lot of difference how the umpire views it.
The inning began with Austin Kearns grounding to Wilson Betemit. He threw the ball away. Marson struck out. And how big is Gordon's diving play now? Royals are 1 strike away from evening the series. After the Gordon play, Brantley singled to center, and Cabrera is hit by a pitch. Didn't get the call earlier in the at-bat, just down and away, 2-2.
He put this pitch right on the glove where Brian Pena wanted this pitch. The glove didn't have to move, but still you see it's off the plate.
Brian Pena wants to talk to Joaquin Soria. Brian made 1 suggestion. Soria shook it off. A second suggestion, he shook it off. And now Brian wants to talk over this pitch. And Chris Getz, like a good infielder, wants to know what the signs are, what the pitch is going to be. So that'll have something to do with where he sets up.
Well, definitely. You always want to know if they got some confusion. You want to make sure you're on the same page. And if they sometimes with a runner on second base, they'll change signs, or they go from first sign to second sign, and sometimes with touches, so you need to know.
3-2. Carlos Santana waiting on deck. He has driven in a run tonight. Santana has never faced Joakim Soria. Joakim would like to keep it that way. The runners go, and that is ball 4. So a 1-run game with the tying run at third and the go-ahead run at second base. Well, Frank, this is Soria's 10th appearance of the year. His ERA is 6.23, and everybody is saying, "No, don't worry, he's all right. You know, he's going to find it." I mean, anything to be concerned about here? I mean, we haven't seen a stretch of games like this from Joakim Soria ever since he's worn a Royals uniform.
Especially from the command standpoint. Usually the fastball command has always been there. The only thing that I was noticing was that he hadn't been able to utilize those two types of curveballs because maybe he can't find the right grip. And then the one ball he did try to throw a curveball, hit the batter, and the changeup and the fastball seem to be the two pitches, but just throwing actual strikes with those pitches have been a problem so far. So maybe it is the weather. Who knows?
No balls, 2 strikes. Well, he just needled the outside corner at 93 miles an hour. Normally, the first few matchups between pitcher and batter goes advantage pitcher. And it works again. Santana never took the bat off of his shoulder. So the Royals hang on by their fingernails. Soria gives up an unearned run. Alex Gordon makes a great play on defense. That really turned the inning around. Otherwise, we might be talking about the bottom of the 9th inning. But all that ends well is well. Soria saves his 5th. And the Royals have even the series at 1 game apiece. That's how it ended. Royals win it 5-4, and we'll be back to Kauffman Stadium.
First off, what's more fun, making the diving catch or throwing out a runner at home plate?
Probably definitely throwing out a runner at home plate. You know, either one of them is good. Just glad to help out the pitcher any way that I can. I know they love it, so it's good to pick up a teammate.
It's the 4th outfield assist already this season for you. You lead the American League in that. How much adrenaline, how much excitement when you see that play to be able to air it out and gun them down?
Yeah, you know, you just try to make a good one-hop throw, and the catchers have been doing a great job blocking the plate and not even let them get to the plate. So you got to give the credit to the catcher too. So just trying to make a good throw and hopefully get them.
How locked in do you feel at the plate? I mean, I asked you about the changes you've made, but also to have everybody else hitting around you as well.
Yeah, it's good. You know, we're winning games and hitting well. So hopefully we can keep that up and continue that on. I know it's early, so we got to stay focused and keep it up.
All right, we'll let you go warm up.
All right, thanks.
All right, that is Alex Gordon, Nebraska guy. Yeah, he can handle the cold weather, but he's got to warm up as well, hot at the plate and in the field, guys.